have to put the thumbnail onto the video, but we're here for the NBA draft live reaction. As you can tell, Sheldon couldn't make it here today. He didn't want to stand the heartbreak of the Wizards not getting anybody good. So he figured he would experience that by himself. We got about 25 minutes until the draft actually starts. So what Finn and I are going to do um, is go over the top 20 players of the draft live before the broadcast. Yeah, I will quickly share that as I am uh, taking forever to get this title done. As you can tell, there's a reason why we don't do these things live. Um, yeah, I mean, Finn, you are the resident casual NBA fan here on the podcast, and yeah, if you have any thoughts about the draft before uh, we get started, I mean, you can share that.
I
Um,
would be very shocked if we do not see Cooper Flag go number one.
Yeah, so Finn is obviously stating the obvious thing. So what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna, go do this or I can open it up this way. Um I will share my screen and go over uh the top 20. I think I put 21 players in the draft. Here we are, Finn. Do you see my screen very well?
I see your screen, but it's giving me a headache trying to read the names.
Of course it is. Let's see. When I press zoom, or
Like,
wait,
can you go into presentation mode?
uh, let's see.
Like, I'm seeing your entire edit.
I know, Finn. I know. I'm just trying. It won't zoom in. Of course, we're doing this live. We definitely should have thought through this a little bit more. Here we go. Okay, is that better?
It is.
All right. Here, I'm gonna stop sharing for a second. But yeah, I mean, as you said, Finn, like Cooper Flag going number one is almost a given in this draft. It feels like if he doesn't, I would call it a grand uh, generational shock. We're gonna try to stay away from Cooper Flag. I will pull up the list, and you just ask me about guys, and I'll basically give you my thoughts on those guys. So as we are here, is that a lot better for you?
Yes, it is.
Okay. 20 minutes before the draft starts, we might pump in some audio for a second. But yeah, go ahead.
Who is Con Canubo?
All right. So you know a good bit about Dylan Harper, so it makes sense to skip him. Con Knipple, uh, Cooper Flag's teammate at Duke. He is one of the better shooters in the draft. Um, a lot of people aren't super high on the ceiling with him. I I'm not necessarily super high on the ceiling either with him, but he's a very good shooter. He's a great on-ball passer, really excellent lob passer as well. He's a 6'5" to 6'6" wing. Play the two, play the three. The real concern with him is his off the dribble shooting and his defense, even though his college defense was pretty good. He's just not a great athlete, so there's obviously going to be questions about his defense. I ultimately like him as the number three prospect because I think there's a very good chance that he's like your number two guy on a really good team. He can pass, he can shoot, and like he was ridiculously efficient as a freshman in the ACC this season. I think he had close to like a 68% true shooting percentage as a freshman, which is ridiculous. So that's Con Knipple. You've definitely watched Con Knipple play basketball before. You just don't know who he is. Um, I guess let's run through some guys. Let's go. and it seems that Finn has uh, appeared to have left. So I guess I will just continue to move forward, and hopefully the show will go on. Yeah, so I guess next guy that I want to talk about, we'll talk about Dylan Harper briefly. I think he's going to be a good bet to be a league creator. He will have his struggles as a pull-up shooter potentially, but I think he will be a perfectly fine catch and shoot shooter. That's why I think the fit with San Antonio is kind of ridiculous. I think he's by far the second best prospect in this draft and needs to be somebody taken number two, regardless of what your team fit is. I think the real bad fits are the guys that are already on roster. Um, and I don't even think those are catastrophic picks. I think you need to be taking Dylan Harper here with if you're San Antonio, regardless of your situation. Cooper Flag, if you do not know who Cooper Flag is, he is a very good um, basketball player. He's great defensively. He is a big, more than a wing, in my opinion, but he can definitely play the wing. Uh, Not going to be your on ball stopper, but he's a great help defender. He is a great passer. He improved as a shooter in his freshman season at Duke here. And I think he's pretty flawless as a player. If I were to nitpick anything, like he might not be 100%, a 30% usage on ball player, but he provides so much with the rest of his all around game that I don't really care. He might even be able to be that 30% usage guy. Um, with Trey Johnson, I ended up with at number 4. I think he's the best shooter in this draft. We'll talk about it more whenever we talk about his team in the uh, offseason. Oh, and Finn has returned. You just missed me talking about Cooper and Dylan Harper, so don't feel too left out on this one, Finn. Um, Trey Johnson, I would say, is the best shooter in this draft. Oh, um, I would say Trey Johnson's the best shooter in this draft. Texas was really weird situation. We'll talk about it once we know what team he's on, and Sheldon and I will be talking about it. But yeah, Trey Johnson, in my opinion, best shooter in the draft. His all around game shaky, but I think the passing reads are strong enough so far that I'm willing to take a bet on him being the fourth guy. VJ Edgecombe, I think if VJ Edgecombe comes into the NBA right now with none of his skills developing, he would be a fifth starter on a team. I think there's a extraordinarily low floor for this guy. He's super athletic. I don't know if there's a star upside with him, but if there is, like it is a very good star. Maybe not your best offensive or defensive player on a team, but maybe it's the name that gets thrown around is Victor Oladipo. I think it'll be a little bit different than that, but that's a good comparison note. And then Common Malawatch. Um, they talk about Common Malawatch all the time, as if there's uh, as if he's a very like just like the third prospect on Duke, which he kind of is. Cooper Flag took a lot of attention. Con Knipple rose up a ton of boards. Um, Malawatch is 7'2". You can't teach 7'2", can you, Finn?
No, you could not. Like it's just like
Yeah, like, you just can't. He's ridiculous length. He's new to basketball. Um, there's signs that the shot might come around. He's got really good lob finishing and just rim finishing. I think he finished like 90% of his half court rim attempts, which are just unheard of efficiency. And I think there is such a low floor with him. And then there's kind of a stretch big to a defensive player outcome for Common Malawatch. Ace Bailey, I guess I'll do this row, and then Finn, you can tell me where to jump around to after I finish this left side. Ace Bailey's a polarizing prospect. I think I land in the middle on him, even though I do have him lower than the casual perspective. I still think Ace Bailey's really good. He's 6'8", around, and then he can really shoot the ball. I think the defense is a work in progress. I think the handle's a work in progress. His finishing anywhere outside of a couple decent shots that he has, he's not really good around the rim. And then I think the 3-point shot needs to at least convert a little bit more in the NBA for him to be an NBA player. Even though I believe that it will. He's a project, and I think there's a very high upside with Ace Bailey. Finn, do you have any questions on the guys on the left besides what I've already laid out for you? Or are you just, yeah?
Move on to 8.
You want Noah Senge? Okay, Senge is really weird. He was still playing until a day or two ago in Germany. It's a very weak pro league, but he was very good there. He was an 18-year-old playing in a professional league on one of the better teams. Measured in as a 6'10" forward. He has a plus wingspan. I think it's around 7'1", 7'2". Very good on ball creator for somebody with his size. He has defensive versatility. I think there's a really high ceiling with him. He's one of my favorite upside swings for teams like Brooklyn, Toronto, Chicago in the middle part of the lottery. I think he makes a ton of sense for them, some of those teams. So that's Noah Senge.
Number 9. Seems we have a coward.
Such a coward. So about 3 years ago, he was playing D3 basketball. And now he has just taken an extreme development increase in his time in college basketball. Over his NBA career, he has shot, or not NBA career, college basketball career, he has shot extremely efficiently from the 3-point line and just in general, like very spotless. And the thing is, he's not even an offensive prospect. Um, he is a defensive upside swing. He's about 6'6" in shoes with around a 7'2" wingspan. Just ridiculous measurements from a guard slash wing. I think he'll play the 2, play the 3 for a bunch of teams. I think he is a seamless fit on damn near every team. There's concerns about him playing poor competition level. I'm not really too concerned because he's going to be scaling down in the NBA, meaning he'll be taking on less of an offensive load in the NBA. So I think he's going to be a very good role player. D'Anthony Mikal Bridges. That's his comparison. Um, I'm assuming you just want to go in order, Finn, right?
Right. I'd assume my next guy is not related to a certain Lakers player.
Uh, Carter Bryant.
Yeah.
Wait, what's how am I missing on the Lakers? Oh, Kobe Bryant. Okay. You see, in my brain, I was going to current Laker. Carter Bryant is Arizona freshman who averaged 7 points a game this season. So that doesn't sound very enticing. But he didn't play enough, is how I would describe it. They were so much better when Carter Bryant was on the floor. He's a monster defensive prospect. I think he measured in at a legit 6'8" without shoes. He has a plus wingspan. He shot the ball extraordinarily well. He's a good athlete. He was a higher usage player in high school. It just, as a freshman, sometimes usage things are weird, and we'll get into that with a later player in this draft. But Carter Bryant should be a very good NBA role player. And I see very little flaw in drafting him in the lottery. I think for some teams you don't want to draft Carter Bryant in the lottery, but most teams will really like Carter Bryant. Kasparas Yakachonis, not spelled correctly. Sorry, it's hard. Um, Played on the ball for half the season at Illinois, and then his teammate, who I have just a little bit later than this list cut off. Will Riley had a really good second half, so Yakachonis moved off the ball a little bit more. He's a very bold is the word for his, or audacious is the word for his passing. Um, I would say he really threads the needle of creativity and sometimes being a little not enough risk averse. But he's an excellent passer. I think his shot will come around in the NBA. And then he ended up finishing around like 62% of his half court layups this season, which you would think he's a center with those numbers. He's a 6'5" guard. I think he's going to be a great like secondary creator on a team. I think he could go as high as 6 to Washington, even though he did fall in our mock draft. So um, at number at number 12, I thought the draft was starting. Nope, it doesn't start for 10 minutes. At number 12, Colin Murray Boyles. Very polarizing. I could see teams having him as high as 5. I could see teams having him like seeing him as like 17 or something like that in their draft. I think it ended up being 12. Great defensive prospect, very scheme versatile. He's a great facilitator. He also, just like Yakachonis, doesn't miss shots around the rim. Uh, I think he's going to be a good player. I think if he goes to the right team, then he could move up a board here very easily. Um, Derek Queen, I think, is a similar situation to Murray Boyles. It's very context dependent for him. Um, like excellent ball handler as a forward. Um, Also made a ton of his half court layups, and he gets kind of miscasted as this like Şengün Sabonis type player. When I think the better comparison is like a not athletic Zion Williamson, who also has the good finishing and ball handling skills that Zion Williamson has. That's what I think of Derek Queen. I think he's very good. And even though there are defensive concerns with him, yeah, uh, I am very confused what's going on right now. Uh, oh yeah, they're just having the players walk onto the stage. I forgot about this. Oh yeah, yeah, they're taking the picture. Okay. Um, yeah, Derek Queen. Don't get fooled by people saying he doesn't play defense because he might not play defense, but I think his defense is a little overrated. Um, Neat Clifford.
Weight problems like Zion does.
He measured in a little overweight at the draft. He's not athletic whatsoever. I think the real concerns with Zion's weight isn't necessarily how much he weighs, but the impact it has on his injuries. And Derek Queen's just not somebody who I anticipate being injured very often just because of his style of play. Like he's not a guy who runs and jumps a ton like Zion does. He's not a very athletic, reliant player, even though I think he is an athlete. He's just not a burst dependent athlete. Um, Nick Clifford, like I was saying, I think a very safe role player bet, can really pass the ball, can really defend. He ended up being a really high usage player in college in his 5th year in college. I think the shot has come around as he's finished his last 2 seasons. Um, I think if you scale him down, he will be more like the defender he was in his first 3 seasons of college, as when he was more of an off-ball player. I think he's very like I think he might be one of the better players right now in this draft. Him, Cooper Flag, and then I think Clayton is also one of the better players right now. We'll get to Clayton. Jeremiah Fears, a lot of people are really high on Fears. I'm maybe not as high on Fears, but really good ball handler. Ended up being a high usage player in his first season in college basketball as an 18-year-old. Really, really good player. I'm concerned the passing needs to come along a little bit for me, and I think the shooting will be a little bit better than his first college season displayed, even though he didn't shoot. In high school ball either. I think the shot will come along. He's a good mid-range shooter. He's got decent floater touch. I think I don't see him being a bad shooter like he was, but I don't see the star upside with him. Jace Richardson, Michigan State, came off the bench for a lot of the season. The fit was a little weird there, but he ended up being one of their better players. Very good off-ball scorer. The only concern with him, he's a little undersized. He measured in around 6 foot flat as an off-ball guard. There's legit concerns there, and that's why I'm okay with him falling in the draft. I don't think we felt had him fall that far. I think we had him fall to 20 in our mock draft. Thomas Sorber, freshman from Georgetown, and he's a very good little things big man. Um, very good actually defending at the rim. I'm a little bit concerned about his defense relatively than other people, just because they kind of played a lot of zone. Um, it just limited the amount of possessions I could see him in pick and roll, even though I don't think he's going to be bad there. He can really pass. He's got good hands. I really like Thomas Sorber. I think he's a safe bet to be a backup center, potentially even a starter. Walter Clayton Jr., one of the better shooters this draft has. Um, Big multi-year college player, won player. He didn't win player of the year, but he won the national championship as the best player on that team. Off movement, as good as it gets as a shooter. Really like Walter Clayton Jr. Joan Berenger, um, highest defensive upside, I think, in this draft. Moves ridiculously well for a 6'11" center. Had a 7'5" wingspan. I really like Joan Berenger. He's very raw offensively, and he might not ever be a positive on that end. If he does, it'll be as a screener and roller, but I like Joan Berenger. I do Thero. Um, I kind of buy the shooting eventually developing with him. He's 6'7", filled out as a player. He's got a long wingspan. He's very athletic. He's very strong. Great defender. And he's very good going downhill. Has shakier touch, but that's how typically great athletes are at this point in their careers. I think I also spelled his name wrong. I think the I goes somewhere else. But yeah, he's extremely athletic. I think he will end up being a very good role player. He's just a project so far. That's why he's lower than guys like Nick Clifford, Coward, and Carter Bryant. And Ryan Kalkbrenner, 22 years old. He played 4 years in college. He's 7'1", won defensive player of the year in his conference. I think all 4 years he played there. Blocks a ton of shots. He could have been in the draft a year ago and been a first round pick, I feel like. I really like Ryan Kalkbrenner. I think he's a safe NBA starter. Yeah, Finn, we're here. It's 8 o'clock almost. I'm gonna see what the video looks like, and if I want to keep sharing uh keep sharing this on while the draft is live. But yeah, I really like yeah, I think that looks fine. Um Yeah, I mean, is there anything you want to talk about? It doesn't even have to be about this draft, but it can be about this draft. What do you have to say, Finn?
If you had to pick the top three teams that are likely to trade up or down, what teams would you pick and why?
Okay, so for the people who don't know the order, we're starting with Dallas picking towards the top of this draft. I could see Dallas potentially doing it. I don't think they should, and I think there's like a 2% chance that they do. San Antonio, if they really don't want Dylan Harper, they could trade that pick. Uh, Charlotte and Philly is trade central. I'm not sure. I'm not even sure who those guys are going to pick. Um, in our mock draft, we had different guys getting picked, and then a trade happening at number 4. So, like, I think anything can happen there. There was reports that Utah has interest in Jalen Brown, and number 5 would be a part of that deal. So I guess number 5 is available. Picking at 6, I think Washington will pick 7. New Orleans could move up. They did make a move to get an extra second round pick in this draft, and I think they could potentially use that to even trade up. Um, Number 8, Brooklyn. I don't know what Brooklyn is cooking up, Finn, but I would be very disappointed if Brooklyn left this draft without making any moves, because they have 5 first round picks in this draft. I think they have an early second unless it went to Boston in the Porzingis trade. Um, I would say those teams are likely to stay there. There's reports that Boston wants a lottery pick in this draft. I don't know how they do that with without trading one of White or Jaylen Brown. Yeah. Let's see. Let's take a quick check of what Shams has posted, because he could I'd imagine he's posted that Cooper Flag has been drafted already. Nope, nothing has happened. Yeah, draft is about to start. I would assume we're getting Coop going first overall here in a couple of minutes. Yeah. What, do you got anything else you want to point out here, Finn? Oh,
No, other than, do you think it might be better to not share this during the actual draft?
maybe. That's yeah, maybe. Here. Um Up currently is Cooper Flag. Um we are going, oh, can you see this text?
No, the only thing I see is your face.
Okay.
And the No Balls Podcast logo on the right of your face.
Of course. I'm trying to pull up what I think the best player available is, and then what we mocked. I'm trying to also move this. So can you see that?
I can't.
Oh well, it goes away in 5 seconds. Well, that's annoying. Yeah, that's super annoying. Okay, so I can turn the timer off. Wonderful. Um, how do I move this? Here we are with technology. So I guess at the bottom we'll just put who I think will go first overall. And they might have just made the pick as I'm doing this. Let's see.
Should I throw the draft on my TV?
Yeah, turn it on mute though. Um, yeah, the draft has officially started. Um, on the bottom, I guess we'll put um who I think will go, or let me think. We will on the bottom, I will put who we took in the mock draft is what we'll do. And then I could put a new one too. Okay. Wait. Oh, so I can't show, okay. I can't show two simultaneously. This is crazy. I've never like done this this drafting before. It looks like somebody, okay. We never know how this thing works, Finn. But I think when the pick is in, I will turn the audio on when Silver goes to the podium, and that's how we'll do this live reaction thing. Um, oh, Silver's going to the podium.
NBA draft. From big cities to small towns, basketball is played and followed everywhere.
Can you hear it, Finn?
This sounds awful.
Can you hear it though?
I can hear that it's on, but not what he's saying.
Is that better?
No, that's worse.
You still can't hear what he's saying though.
No, I cannot.
Here we are, Finn. I wish we were more entertaining or something. I don't know. We should be cracking jokes. I guess
teammates spend countless hours
Is that better?
watching film and pushing themselves to be the very best.
Yes.
All right.
Champion over the past 10 years.
All right. Well, we'll leave Mr. Silver on mute for a second. In a second here, I'm gonna have to slide out.
NBA draft belongs to the Dallas Mavericks, who have 5 minutes to make their selection.
Okay. So Dallas is on the clock. I will quickly run and get a a Gatorade for me to drink, Finn. I guess this is the time for me to leave because you can talk about Cooper Flag a little bit while I'm gone. One of the few players. So have fun.
He is a 6'9", two-way forward that moves well.
Yes, he is. I guess I should have sent you my scouting report on him so you could have gone through that. But yeah, Cooper Flag, 6'9", two-way forward that moves extraordinarily well. One of the best athletes. It feels like ever. Cooper Flag is the number one player on my board. I think that's what I'm going to put here at the bottom. We'll talk about what we did in the mock draft. In the mock draft, we obviously took Cooper Flag. He's very good. Instinctually, he knows the game extraordinarily well. He gets off the ground extraordinarily quickly. So even though I think he measured as like a 36-inch vertical, he gets off the ground so damn fast that like it plays up is what I would say. I would imagine here the Mavericks are going to put the pick in. They did show the Mavericks decision room on the draft, so I'm pretty sure they've already selected the pick. We're just waiting for Silver to get to the board. I'm assuming Shams has already tweeted out that Flag is the pick, but we're gonna react live, and then I will check Shams after every pick is made, make sure nothing got snuck in on us. Finn, I guess as a casual fan, you know that Cooper is the pick here, but for the average fan, they don't know how valuable Cooper is going to be. When he steps foot into the league, he's one of the most valuable player assets in the entire league. That's why when Dallas won the draft lottery, it wasn't a guarantee that they were going to trade Coop for Giannis, and they probably won't. So, he's one of the rare cases where a number one draft prospect goes into college and improves their stock. I feel like he answered way more questions than he brought up in his college season this past year. The picks in, I wish they would hurry up and decide it, and have the commissioner go to the board. Finn, is there any draft prospect here that you want to know a little bit more about before we get moving a little bit more?
Honestly, not really. I want to see how this goes. I want to see the trades.
Yeah, you I guess what teams do we think is going to make any like crazy moves? Apparently Boston's not trading their guys. So I don't know how they're going to get that lottery pick that they desire.
By the way, Dallas's pick is in.
Yeah, I see it. Once the commissioner goes to the board, I will unmute.
I have it muted on my TV just so I can see it.
Yeah. Uh, Let me think about surprises that could potentially happen. Obviously, the Philly and Charlotte trade scenarios could surprise people. It wouldn't really surprise me. I would never be surprised with Daryl Morey doing something crazy. Um, and then Charlotte, it is a new organization, so anything I think is on the table for them. I think trading LaMelo Ball is honestly on the table for them. I don't think they'll do it at the draft though. Um, yeah, Phew. The pick has been in for like 3 minutes. This is crazy. Usually they hurry up with the number one selection. Um, but usually it got in at like the 2 minute mark. And usually they run it back. I don't know. Just making it super increasingly more likely that something crazy might be happening, even though I don't think that's what's happening. Uh, Finn, you're a little bit more immersed in the betting. What was the odds for Coop going number one?
I honestly have not checked those, but it was 90 plus
It was plus 90.
percentage.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, Silver's going to the board.
About that time.
The Dallas Mavericks select Cooper Flag from Duke University.
All right, so if you didn't hear there, Dallas did select Cooper Flag, number one overall. Um, Nothing that we weren't expecting. Um, yeah, I guess we need to talk about what this means for Dallas really quickly. As I do this, I will set up a new player thing. But yeah, I think what this means for Dallas is they have one of the more valuable trade assets in the entire league. I think they will keep him on roster. I think they are likely to be a decent play-in playoff team next season between, I don't know, maybe the 6 and 8 seed next season. Like, and I think that's pretty low floor. Kyrie Irving is going to miss some time next season, so addressing point guard in this offseason is something that they will likely need to do. Yeah, I mean, Cooper Flag's awesome, Finn. I guess the only other thing I have to say here is this could see the end of uh PJ Washington in Dallas. Yeah, I mean, do you have anything that you want to say on Coop, Finn?
No, but as for where you had Dallas placed, I agree with the placement. I'd say a lot depends on Anthony Davis being healthy.
As it always does. Um as you can see here on the bottom, unless you have anything else that you want to say on Dallas or Cooper Flag. What?
Turn off the timer. It took the name off.
Yeah, I put him back on. Yeah, so next pick here is San Antonio Spurs. Um, we had in the draft Dylan Harper. Dylan Harper is the best player available on my big board. I would say take Dylan Harper, regardless of the fact that you have De'Aaron Fox and you spent your last year's draft pick on Stephon Castle. Um, yeah, the best player available in this draft is that's not named Cooper Flag is Dylan Harper. Um, so unless there's somebody new to this draft, I'm taking Dylan Harper at 2. I think they could trade it if they really don't want the fit. But I would rather trade De'Aaron Fox than trade Dylan Harper here. Um, yeah, I mean, do you have any input that you want to have on this pig, San Antonio in general?
San Antonio in general, yeah, I agree. I'd rather trade De'Aaron Fox because of the contention window that I do not think is quite there.
Yeah,
It's this, but it's not quite.
yeah. Could they be very good next season? Yes, but I think the role players on their team are going to need time to develop because they've recently been drafted. Um, so I would say that trading Fox makes sense for them. Cooper Flag, I think a lot of drafts, I went back and looked at it. Out of like the last 5 drafts, he would have gone number 1 overall in a couple of them. I don't think he's a guy who was a number 1 overall pick in damn near every draft. I think that's been said about him, and I just don't think that's very true. But I think he is a top 3 pick in damn near every draft class over the last 20 years. Um, yeah, Dylan Harper is an awesome prospect. I understand having concerns about the shooting. I think he's a great catch and shoot shooter. He's a great off ball player. I'm not concerned about that. If you have concerns about the pull up shooting, limiting how high his upside can be, I can see that a little bit. But Dylan Harper is 100% the pick here, regardless of them already having De'Aaron Fox. I think if you are considering not taking Dylan Harper because you have De'Aaron Fox or Steph Castle, then trade De'Aaron Fox or Steph Castle. That's how I feel about it. Those guys are very good, but Dylan Harper, I think, is the guy who you need to take and build around Victor Wembanyama. Cooper Flag becomes a good list here. Fifth Duke player, selected number 1 overall with Elton Brand, Kyrie Irving, Zion Williamson, and Paulo Banchero. It's a pretty good list.
I know every single one of those names except for Elton Brand.
Well, he was drafted in 1999, and I would expect you to know him as the terrible Philadelphia general manager from the late 2020 or the late 2010s.
Like, I don't know him as a player.
Yeah, he was a good player, very good player for a couple of years. Yeah. I think also some really interesting things with this draft is some newer teams that are in it now. We didn't end up making a mock pick for New Orleans' late pick because we ended up trading it to Charlotte for number 4. But that's something new that I haven't necessarily thought about too much, but we'll get there. We'll get there when we get there. There's obviously trades that are going to probably happen within the draft. I haven't thought too much about the Phoenix pick. In the draft, mock draft, Sheldon and I decided on Yegor Demon, even though both of us kind of were a lot lower on Yegor Demon than having him go 10. So, we talked about it after. We were like, yeah, I was like, yeah, I have Yegor Demon in the mid 20s, and he was like, yeah, I have Yegor Demon at like 20. So here we are. But yeah, Jay Billis has Yegor Demon at 10. I don't think the fit's terrible. That's why we ultimately landed on it. Adam Silver's coming to the board.
With the second pick in the 2025 NBA draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Dylan Harper from Rutgers University.
So they take Dylan Harper, as we're expecting. No surprises. I'll quickly check Shams to make sure that the pick is not getting traded. But yeah, Dylan Harper. I'll let you say anything that you feel here, Finn. One of the last couple players that you really know a good bit about, so I'll let you get the reins. And for the people who don't know, that is no diss. Finn's our baseball person, so.
Adam Silver, get on the stage quicker.
I know there's a reason why he's not on the stage quicker. But yeah, Dylan Harper is a great fit for them. I think he needs to be. I guess Shams just isn't tweeting when picks are made. That's got to be intentional. Yeah, Dylan Harper is a great player. Like I said, I think him and Wemby needs to be your duo long term. Figure out where Steph Castle and De'Aaron Fox fit in with that. Don't figure out where Dylan Harper fits in. Figure out what the other guys do. Ridiculously productive as a freshman. I think the passing will highlight a lot more next to Victor Wembanyama and NBA players. Yeah, I mean he's really good. I think that's the right pick for them as long as they're not trading that pick.
I like that 4 assist along with the 20 points.
Yeah, I mean as a point guard, yeah, very good passer. He's a point guard with really plus size. Like dude can legitimately touch the rim not touch the rim, but touch the paint at will. So Dylan Harper is a great pick. Here at number 3, best player on my board is Knipple. He is not who we ended up having going in the draft. This is Philadelphia. I would be very surprised if nothing happens trade-wise between these next 2 picks. I think Khan is a fine fit in Philadelphia. I see no reason for that to not work. It's just I think the better pick for them is VJ Edgecombe. That's who we end up going 3rd overall in our mock draft. I think that is a much better fit. I see Khan, VJ, Trey Johnson, and Common Malawach as like their own tier. So I'm fine picking anyone in that tier over anyone in that tier, if that makes any sense. But yeah, Concanipple, I think, is a fine pick here. I think Trey Johnson, VJ Edgecombe are fine picks. And if they do want to go with the ceiling guy and Ace Bailey, that makes a lot of sense. But I think the reason Ace Bailey doesn't make sense for Philly is Daryl Morey needs to keep his job. And Ace Bailey will be good, but not for Daryl Morey because Daryl Morey will be fired in a year if they're not good. And Ace Bailey would then be better for another general manager. I think, like I said before with VJ at the start, I think he's an NBA caliber starter right now if nothing improves. And I think that's extremely valuable.
What happens if the time goes up before a pick is made?
I don't know. I think there's a reason why we've never seen it happen.
Some owner yelling at their GM.
Yeah. Like the owner, you got to be in serious trouble. Yeah. Oh, well. I saw an official trade, and well, it was a 2nd-round pick, so that will not be made today. But Finn, what do you think about the new draft format with the 2nd round being on the 2nd day?
I like it. It'll probably make the draft a little shorter time-wise every day.
Yeah. I'm somebody who's gonna watch the 2nd round anyway, but we're not gonna live stream the 2nd round.
So say they trade this pick, does that timer reset?
I believe it would. Yeah, I think it would.
Taking a pretty decent amount of their time here.
I mean, they're going to take all the calls possible. I mean, here's the thing with Philly, though. They had to, if they are trading this pick, it would already be lined up, because what was expected to happen happened. So I feel like they are just. There's a high possibility this pick is being traded, because it's taken 4 minutes already. Yeah, I would assume this pick's being traded. And because then it would take longer for that to process with the commissioner, and he would announce the trade on the podium, I'm pretty sure. Like I said, Finn, I think Concaniple's the best player available. I think if you're Philly, I would probably take VJ Edgecombe. So we'll see what they ultimately end up doing. They've taken the full 5 minutes. This is crazy. I'm assuming the pick is definitely being traded because there's 20 seconds left and it's not in yet. Pick is in. I summoned it. The pick is now been submitted. We will see Commissioner Silver walk to this podium in a second, I think. I think the right pick's VJ Edgecombe. So, well, let's see what they do. Oh gosh, Finn. Getting into You hear? Do you have rain going on outside, Finn?
Yeah, 100% I do.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit. Um, almost sneezed. Oh. Yeah, I guess as fans here, we have very little investment here as the Knicks don't have a pick, and Adam Silver's going to the board.
The third pick in the 2025 NBA draft, the Philadelphia 76ers select VJ Edgecombe.
So VJ Edgecombe goes. So far, our mock draft is perfect. I think that is the right pick, especially if they're keeping it. I don't even have to change Con Knipple. He's still my best player on the board. Uh, but yeah, VJ Edgecombe, I think he might not be a day one starter, but I think that's just because of how their roster is shaped up. I think he'll be a good role player day one. I think he will hit enough open catch and shoot shots to where you won't be compromising your offense too much day one. I think the keys for him are improving his ball handling because he's not a bad passer by any means. Um, he's not a good ball handler, so he can't create too much opportunities besides when he just blurs past people in a straight line. I really like VJ here though. I have him 5 on my board. I don't think it was a reach taking him here. It's what we did in the mock draft. And I'll quickly check with Shams that was the pick that they actually made, and that's not another team trading up. Yeah, okay, so Shams has confirmed it. I guess he just wasn't going to tweet out the first 2 picks. Regardless, Finn, do you have any VJ Edgecombe things that you want to say?
Honestly, not really. Yeah, I see the fit here, especially if you're the GM wanting to actually keep your job.
Yeah, I think he can contribute day one, and I think there is upside to really prey on. Even though I'm not as bought into the upside, I think he'll just be a very good NBA player. Like maybe he's your 3rd best player on a really good team. Like that's, I think, very achievable. Sheldon also a Baylor fan. I'll say this: I don't think he wanted VJ to Washington. I think he really wants Ace to fall there and them to take Ace. Finn, have you heard the Ace Bailey stories going around?
No,
Have you, Finn?
I have not.
Okay. Well, he basically didn't work out with anybody, and it's really weird. I said in the mock draft, I think a lot of the things being said about Ace are pretty unfair. I don't think he's a bad character. Um, I think he's all things considered a very good prospect, even though I have him at 7 and the consensus is 3. I think he's very good. Um, would I have had him falling this far in the draft? No, but I think there's a good chance he falls in the draft from just not working out with anybody. I think he wants to fall in the draft, but if we talk about it this way, like if Ace wanted to fall to Brooklyn or Washington or New Orleans, if he wanted to go there, he should have had Philly say that they really liked VJ Edgecombe in his workout and have somebody trade up to get Ace Bailey because then he could have got more money. But his agent is relatively inexpensive.